Hi, today we'll be looking at the three main build that you can build from the new BFE-S-BT05 and also TD02. Alright, so these are the three main build: Gargantua Bladecentaurs, and the Double Horus, and also the Evil Demonic Dragon. Alright, so other than these three main build, you can also upgrade your old 5th Omnilord deck, and also Hero, the non-weapon hero. Right, so these are the few builds that you can actually get built out from the new BT05. Hi, so first let's take a look at the new Gargantua Dragon. This is the Bladecentaur. Right, so you have the new ability G Boost Craft. So core cost, pay 2 gauge, top that into soul. At the start of your attack phase, during this turn, all cards on your field get double attack. If you have other deity dragon trap on the field, instead it gets triple attack. And it has move and soul guard. Right? So this is the new Gargantua Dragon. It don't really work well with the original G Boost base. So if you're thinking of mixing them, you have some challenge. So do take note. So definitely 4 copy for this deck. And we have the second Bladecentaurs, which is a promo in Japan. I'm not sure whether we're getting this in the English version, but okay. Core cost, pay 1 gauge, top deck into soul. And G Boost Craft, at the start of your attack phase, during this turn, all monsters on your field get penetrate. And if you have other deity dragon trap on the field, during this turn, all monsters on your field get double attack. Okay, so double attack, penetrate, and this thing have move and soul guard. So you can actually call either one depending on the situations. So maybe just 2 copies will do. Since there's a lot of Dragon Searcher in the deck, so it's definitely not an issue. Next, we have the Reshoot Dragon. Right, this is a very strong card in this deck, so definitely 4 copies. Size 3, right? Core cost, pay 2 gauge, top deck into soul. If there's a Dragon on your field, reduce the size by 2, so it's a size 1. And wherever this card gets stand by card effect, draw 1, shoot 1 damage. So with the triple attack, first attack, restand, draw 1, shoot 1. Second attack, restand, draw 1, shoot 1. Third attack. Alright, so definitely 4 copies. And not only that, if there's a G boost on your field, when this card attacks alone, your opponent cannot counter. Alright, and this thing have penetrate and soul guard. Definitely a 4 copy. It's very, very strong. Next, we have the Caliban Gadra. So it's from the secret pack. What you do is very simple. Counter. During this turn, if you attack 3 or more times, and there's a G Boost Craft on your field, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do so, call this from the drop zone onto the field. Right, so after you call on the field, you will still gain the triple attack. And every time this card gets stand by card effect, it gets critical plus 1. So 2 critical, first attack, restand, 3 critical, 4 critical. Right? So it's a fun card, and since you can call it from the drop, I think 2 copies should be enough. Next, we have Alpha Gadra. Alright, it's a double R. At the end of the battle where this card attack, if there's a G boost on the field, you may send this card from the field into drop. If you do so, call a deity dragon trap monster from your hand onto the field. So remember, everything that called after the attack phase will still gain the triple attack. And whenever this card stand by card effect, you gain 2 life. So first attack plus 2, second attack plus 2 again, so plus 4. Right, definitely a fun card to play. Not a must have, but a good to have, I guess. Alright, next we have the Rawhide. When this card enters the field, you can discard 1 card from hand. Charge 1, search for a G Boost Craft from the deck into a hand. So you can either search for the PR version or the secret card version, the secret pack version, and shuffle the deck. When this card gets restand, if there's a G boost on the field, destroy a card on your opponent's field. So attack the first time, destroy 1, second time, destroy 1, and third attack. Right? It's a fun card, it's a very fun card. And since it's a searcher, so definitely a 4 copies. Next we have the staple, which is Gargantua. Draw 1, charge 1. And this is not compulsory since the second effect requires you to have a power 10,000 or greater. So it's only in the deck for the first effect, which is draw 1. And since you get triple attack, so why not? Alright, so that's all for the monsters. Let's go for the spells. So we have some staple spells that was from the previous deck. We have the G-Boost Over, still 4 copies. And we have Garnite's Rush, 2. Alright, so let's take a look at the new card. So one of the new card that we played was Gargantua Invitation. So you can only cast this during if you have G-Boost Craft during this turn. Counter, draw 1. And during this turn, when your Deity Dragon Tribe casts standby card effect, deal 1 damage to your opponent. It's permanent, and even if the unit gets caught after, will still gain this effect. So it's a very fun card. You can play more than 2 copies if you want. So mainly this deck, what it does is you do multi-attack. Even if it can't kill anyone, you can still shoot 1, shoot 1, shoot 2, and just kill your opponent with the effect damage. But take note, some decks that counter effect damage, such as Atora, is you have some issues. So do take note. Alright, next we have the Gai Stream. So you can only cast this if there's a G-Boost on your field. During this turn, all cards on your field cannot be rested by your opponent's card effect. They cannot be returned back to hand. And when your Deity Dragon Tribe stand by card effect, you gain 1 life. Alright? And this another new card that's a must play, I guess, is Gar-E Come On. So if you remember the old Gar Come On, the old one lets you charge 1 and call 1 from the drop. The new ones, you can only cast it after you attack 3 or more times during this turn. Charge 2. If there's a G-Boost on the field, search from your deck. Size 1 and below Deity Dragon Tribe, call it on the field by paying the call cost. Shuffle the deck. If you call, draw 1. Right? Very strong. But since you need 3 or more attack for the old G-Boost base, maybe like 2 copies will do. But the new one, you can play up to 3 to 4 copies if you want. Alright, and the rest of staple, Gar Oracle, Dragot Shine, Purple Dragon Shield, and alright, let's take a look at the weapon. So this is the new weapon. Equip cost, pay 1 gauge, pay 1 life. If there's a Dragot on your field, this card and all Deity Dragon Tribe monster on your field cannot be destroyed, and effect cannot be nullified by your opponent's card effect. And counter, during this turn, if there's a G-Boost Craft on your field, stand all Deity Dragon Tribe monster on your field, and this effect can only be activated once per turn. So you can do an additional restand, shoot the damage, or you can attack again. Right? It's a very fun card, but it don't go well with you can't really combo it with the previous G-Boost base. So do take note. Okay, last but not least, the impact. Deity Gargantua Crusher, of course, is in the deck, and I feel that if you are building the Gaga deck, and from the previous patterns, there should be another 2 more. The last G-Boost card type, maybe G-Boost Heart, and also G-Boost Base, G-Boost Craft, 3 of them. There may be a 4th one that actually gathers all 3 of them into one deck. So it's good to just invest a bit and just wait and see what we have. Right, so this is Gaga deck. Okay, so now let's take a look at the new Darkness Dragon World deck, featuring the new Evil Demonic Dragon. So let's talk about the playstyle. So this deck requires your life to be at 6 to 1. So high risk, high reward. The nearer you are to death, the stronger they are. So for the body, Belial, core cost, pay 3 gauge. And this card on the field cannot be destroyed or returned back to hand. Critical cannot be reduced by opponent's card effect. Alright, so 3 type of effect first. And if your life is 1, this card can penetrate and the critical becomes 666. So it's 3-digit critical. It has move and triple attack. Right, so like what I said just now, your life must be at between 6 to 1 in order for all these effects to pull off. And it's a 666 crit. It's almost a sure kill. Right, so this is a very, very interesting build. And the next size 3 we actually played was NV. So pay 2 gauge, top that into soul. If your life is 6 and below, reduce the size by 3. So it becomes a size 0. Counter, during your opponent turn, select a monster or item on your opponent field. Pay 1 gauge. If you do so, draw 1. Nullify all its ability. Rest it. And if your life is 1 during this turn, it cannot stand by card effect. And this once per turn. You have move, double attack, and soul guard. Alright. So once again, your life must be below 6 and 1. Alright. Old face, we have Darrowberg. So there's a reprint in BT-2A, which is coming out in September. So if you are not willing to spend the extra money to buy the older, rarer version, you can actually wait a bit. It's not a must play, but it's a good to have. Okay, and this is one of the main thing that must be put in this deck. Daredevil Crimson. Right? So this card actually comes from the comic book, Buddy Fight Dark Game Chronicles, book 3. So the reason why you play this card is very simple. It's for the overturn. If this card is in your drop and your life will become 0, it becomes 1 and you drop 1 hand card, call this from the drop without paying the core cost. And for this turn, all cards on your opponent field get power minus 10,000, critical minus 3. Right, so this is a lifesaver since your life is at 1. So it's a good to have. And I would say at most 2 copies in the deck, or maybe just 1 for insurance sake. Yeah, so definitely a must play. So do check out the comic book that is already out in the market, book 3. Right, so let's take a look at the supports. So one of the main support that we have is Lupus. It's a size 0 triple R. And you can only call one of them per turn. When this card enters the field, if other Evil Demonic Dragon, charge 2, draw 1. If your life is 6 and below, draw 1 more. And activate, put this card into the soul of an Evil Demonic Dragon monster on your field. If it's in the soul, it gets soul guard. And if your life has 6 and below, it gets power plus 10,000, defense plus 10,000. Alright, it's very, very strong. So you can actually power up your Belial further from the 13,000 to 23,000. Right? So definitely a must play. 4 copies. And next we have Shimia. So when this card enters the field, you can discard 1 card from your hand, search for a Belial monster or a Evil Demonic Dragon item from the deck to hand. So it's a searcher. Definitely a 4 copies. And if a original size 3 Evil Demonic Dragon were to leave the field, and you can send this card from the field into drop instead, and it stays on the field. So definitely a 4 copies. Next we have Grips. Right, it's a rare. Pay 1 gauge. Or Evil Demonic Dragon on your field cannot be rested by your opponent's card effect. The effect cannot be nullified. And when this card enters the field, you may return up to 1 Evil Demonic Dragon monster from your drop back to hand. So maybe just a 2 copy will do. Alright, let's take a look at the spells. They have very, very interesting spells. First of all, let's take a look at this. So this is a 4 copy. It's a triple R. Cast cost, destroy Evil Demonic Dragon on your field. charge 2, draw 2. If your life is 6 and below, draw 1. Right, so you destroy 1 evil demonic dragon on the field. You can charge 2 and draw up to 3. So definitely a must play. Right, this card we only played 3 copy, but it's similar to our Daredevil. So during opponent turn, if there's a demonic dragon on the field, you can cast this card. Pay 2 gauge. During this turn, when your life were to become 0, it becomes 1 instead, and you can only cast this once per fight. Alright, once per fight. So we only keep it at 3. There's no purpose of keeping it at 4 since you only need 1 copy in your hand at all time. The rest could be charged away or thrown away or whatever. And this card, cast cost, discard 1 card from hand. Look at top 5. Add a total of 2 evil demonic dragon monster or item to hand. The rest into gauge. So you can actually drop 1, draw 2, and charge 3 potentially. Right, definitely a 4 copies. It's a double R. Right, and this is the key. I'll say this is the key card in this deck to pull off all the combos. During your opponent turn, if there's a demonic dragon on your field, you can cast this card. Choose one of the 2. First one, draw 1, and reduce the next damage dealt to you to 0. Alright, and this is the main one. Alright, you can pay any amount of life. If you do so during this turn, all damage dealt to you is reduced by that amount. So I can pay 9 life and keep my life to left 1, and every single damage for this turn is reduced by 9. Alright, so you can actually pull off all your combo within the second turn. Alright, so this definitely a 4 copy. You need it at the start of the game. And let's go for the lower rarity spells that we play. This is a rare. So Diablo's Grief. Pay 1 gauge. Add up to 2 different evil demonic dragon monster or item to hand. Alright, it's a retriever. And since we already are retrieving monsters, so just the 2 copy will do. And another rare. So Diablo's Compassion. You can cast this without paying a cast cost if your life is 1. So cast cost, pay 2 life. Call up to 1 evil demonic dragon monster from your drop onto the field. And if your life is 6 and below during this turn, you get power plus 10,000, defense plus 10,000. You can only cast this once per turn, right? Next is uncommon. And if your life is 1 and below, you don't need to pay the cast cost. Destroy an evil demonic dragon on your field, pay 2 gauge. And you can choose one of the 2. You will either destroy all monsters in opponent field or discard 3 of your opponent's gauge. And this is only a 1 copy. This is a set card. And when a monster enters, evil demonic dragon monster enter your field, charge 2. You can only use this once per turn. If your life were to become 0, send this into drop and discard the top of your deck. If it's an evil demonic dragon, your life become 1. Right, so this is another insurance card. Not really needed, but you know, insurance. Alright, and we have the item. Equip cost. Put 2 evil demonic dragon from your drop into soul. And pay 2 gauge. You cannot be dealt damage by opponent's card effect. Sorry, you cannot be dealt damage by card effect. If your life is 1, this card get power plus 10,000, critical plus 2. So 13,000 and 2 critical. When this card attack, you will discard 1 of your opponent gauge. And if your life is 1, draw 1 and your opponent discard 1 card from hand. Very strong since there's such a, I think 3 copies should be enough. And this is impact that really can end the game. You can only cast this if you attack 2 times or more during this turn. And cast cost is pay 2 gauge. Select a evil demonic dragon on your field. Deal damage to opponent equals to its critical. So 666 damage impact. And this is Evil Demonic Dragon. You can build the whole deck purely just from this set alone. You don't really need any old cards unless, of course, you want to make it a bit more stable. You can go for Derelbag and also Daredevil Crimson. Alright, so this is what I think should be the strongest in this set. Okay, so let's take a look at the main feature from BT05, which is the new system we have, Double Body. So it's a very simple system. This ability allows you to have 2 cards in your body zone, alright, and it's a specific pair. So we have the Secret Pack version and also the Trial Deck version. Okay, they may look similar, but they are very different. Right, so you can only have the specific pair in your body zone. You can't really mix them. And let's go through the effect. Frieza. Let's go at Frieza first. Core cost, pay 2 gauge. Double body. When this card enters by body core, and you can body core the magma from your hand without paying the core cost. And all Dragon and King on your field cannot be destroyed or returned back to hand by opponent's card effect. Next we have Magma. Double body gift. If it enters the field by Frieza's ability, and destroy up to 2 cards on opponent field and draw 2. At the start of attack phase, if there's Frieza on the field, during this turn, all size 1 Dragon on your field get triple attack. Alright, size 1 Dragon, that includes things like SD Gaga, or if you want to mix the Child Deck version of Horus inside there for 3 Horus on the field, it also gets a triple attack. Right, but start attack phase. Right, so definitely a 4 copy, and take note that this is not the full potential of this deck. You will need the BT06 with Ra, the 3rd dragon in this set, for a triple body. Okay, so let's take a look at one of the key cards in this deck. Derelbag. You may discard a Legend Dragon monster from from your hand. If you do so, look at top 5 from your deck. Add up to 1 Dragon and 1 Legend Dragon to hand, the rest back to bottom deck. So since Horus have both the trait, you can actually add both of them to your hand at the same time. So definitely a 3 copy or 4 copy in the deck. But I think 3 copies should be more than enough, since this deck have very good draw power and searching power. Next, we have the Secret Pack, the Shield. So when this card is on the field, all spell with Shield in name cannot be nullified. And when this card gets discarded by your card effect, stand all Legend Dragon in your body zone. So for triple body, you can stand all 3. For the current deck, you can stand both of them at the same time. Alright. 3 copies should do. Is only for you to restand the body zone, so that you can actually do another body call. You can do multiple body call in the game. Next, this from the Trial Deck. Right, so when this card gets discarded from your hand, charge 2 gauge. Very important, as this deck do not have very good charging mechanism. So this is definitely a must play. 4 copies. And when it enters the field, if you have other Legend Dragon on the field, heal 1, draw 1. So definitely must play. Right, 4 copies definitely. Next, we have the reprinted Albedo. You can play up to 3 copies, I guess. It's a good to have. But some cards require you to discard Legend Dragon, so you may get stuck, so do take note. Next, we have the Little Warrior. It's a rare. So when this card gets discarded from your hand, at the end of the turn, if there's a Legend Dragon on your field, you can return this card back to your hand. And if you do so, charge 1, heal 1. Alright, so you can recycle them. So it's a very fun card. And since it can be recycled, just 2 copies you will do. And we have a size 3 in this deck. Right, so this is a triple R. Core cost, pay 2 gauge, top deck into soul. Reduce the size by each Dragot on in your body zone. So since the double body, so it's the size 1. And if this card is in the center, this card and all your body monster get power plus 10,000, critical plus 1. You have penetrate, double attack, and soul guard. So 2 copies should do, since as I said there's a issue with the gauge, so it's actually pretty high cost for this deck. Next, let's take a look at the shield. Alright, so this shield is actually a triple R, and you can only cast it during your opponent's turn's attack, pay 1 life, nullify the attack, and if there's a Dragot on your left and right, you can discard 1 card from hand, and if you do so, return this card back to your hand. So you can actually discard things like Alwido to gain more advantage and return this back to hand and do it again. But pay 1 life, a bit heavy, I would say. And if you go against decks such as like the Bladecentaur, you may have some issues, since there's a limit of how much life you can pay against the multi-attack. Next, let's take a look at the Crotion. So you can choose one of the 2 effects. You can either add a king item from your hand, from your deck to hand, shuffle the deck, or you can add up to 2 different Legend Dragon monster from your drop to hand, and if you do so, discard 1. Alright, it's a 3 copy. You can either salvage or draw, search for a card. Very good. And next, another double R. So you can cast this during each player's attack phase. Pay 2 life. Return up to 2 Dragot, size 1 Dragot on your field back to hand. And after that, call up to 2 without paying the call cost. Right, so you can actually, let's say we have both of them on the field already. Right, both of them on the field. So after the attack, cast, return these 2 back to hand, and let's say my body is in stand, I can just call 1 of them, double body call the second one, and destroy 2 cards, draw 2. Right, and this can be cast during opponent turn. So during opponent turn, you can actually return back to hand, call them to the center to block or anything else. So it's a pretty interesting card. You can play up to 3 if you need, but do take note that the triple attack is at the start of the turn. Right, next we have this. Stand all card in your all Legend Dragon in your body zone, and search for 2 Legend Dragon monster with different name from the deck to hand. Shuffle the deck. If you add 2, discard 1. Alright, so you can still discard things like Alwido. Ingot is from the trial deck with Brain. So discard 1, draw 2, and you can discard things like Alwido again. Downer Rebuck. So pay 1 gauge, gain 1 life, draw 2. And you can only cast this if there's 2 or more Legend Dragon on your field. This is also from the trial deck, 3 copies. This is uncommon from the deck, from the booster. So pay 1 gauge, choose a card opponent field, rest it cannot be stand during this turn. The usual effect. And this is a Japanese promo. I'm not sure whether we are getting this in the English version, but it's a set card. All effects of your Legend Dragon on the field cannot be nullified by opponent's card effect. Discard a Legend Dragon from hand, pay 1 gauge, draw 2. You can only set 1 on the field. Right, this is a must play, minimum 3 copy in the deck. But we are not sure whether they will be in the English version. Next, we have the secret item, which is King trait. Equip cost, pay 1 gauge. If a Dragot were to leave the field, you may send this to drop instead. And for the activate effect, rest this card, look at top 5, add 1 Legend Dragon monster to hand, the rest back to bottom deck in any sequence. It's a good to have since there's a lot of searcher, just 2 copy will do. And we have the trial deck item. So pay 1 life to equip. Your Legend Dragon monster on the left and right gets power plus 5000. And you can actually rest this and return 1 Legend Dragon monster from your drop back to hand. Right, it's a retriever. This is searcher from the top 5. So you can go either way. And we have the impact. Also from the secret pack. You can only cast this if there's a Dragon and King on the field. Pay 2 gauge and shoot 2 damage for each Dragon monster on your field. So if you have like Gaga SD, you will still also shoot 2, so it's total shooting 6. So it's an interesting card, but I think 2 is more than enough. Right, so to further boost this deck, we can add things such as Lost World, of course, and also the spell is a common reprint in this set. So it's very simple. During your opponent's turn, after the first battle, pay 2 gauge, pay 2 life, end the attack phase. Alright, this is very strong, but as I said, there's some gauge issue with this deck. So if you want to play this, do take note, because most of the time you only have like 4 gauge at most. Yeah, so it's a good to have. Maybe like 2 copies will do. And you can also add a trial deck version inside, but do take note when you buddy call, make sure you call the correct one. Right, and since it's not a buddy, you can't actually use the double buddy gift here. Alright, so that's all. And this is for BT05. So the next one we'll be doing will be things for BT2A. Alright, so see you.